Shane, let's talk about the features and benefits of the LD and LS dispenser series.
Okay, well the LD and LS dispensers, the way they're manufactured, they do have a sight gauge tube on the front, but one of the things that we like to focus our attention on is this little design here, where it has the handle on the top and the closure for the top as well, so that it actually seals in the heat so that you can hold for longer. The other thing is our shankless faucet, which is a key component, and a lot of people say, well, what do you mean shankless faucet? How does it work without a shank? Well, the way we've designed a very compact structure so that the faucet itself, the faucet body itself, is mounted as close to the tank as possible, requiring no shank outside the dispenser in order to be able to hook up the upper assembly for the faucet. So that helps to retain heat better, and it reduces the amount of heat lost between this point of the faucet and the tank, and also reduces what is contained in here from heat loss as well.
So if you need more information on the specs for the LD and LS series, please go to our website, and you'll find that information on the product pages, in the user's guides, and the spec sheets. Shane, you just mentioned the sight gauge. How do you clean the sight gauge?
Well, that's a really good question, and it's one of those things that is a bit of a challenge on the dispensers with sight gauge tubes. But the way you would clean it is make sure, obviously, the dispenser is empty. And then there's a cap on the top of the sight gauge tube that you want to remove. And then you're going to do your regular cleaning process inside the dispenser. And once that's complete, you can actually take a sight gauge tube brush and you just run it down inside. Now this one is actually designed for the 1.5 gallons. You can actually take the tube out and you just run the brush through, and that cleans it out. And that's why you have to make sure that it's empty, because once you take the cap off, you could wind up with a mess on the floor if you don't do it right. So, and then once you're done with that, you put the sight gauge tube back in place, and the cap back on, and away you go. And that's it.
And all of our dispensers come with that brush inside the box.
Yes, they do. And the 2-gallon version comes with a longer brush, so you can actually clean the whole tube. And this would be the version for the 1.5 gallon.
Shane, we get a lot of questions about our LD and LS series during trade shows. Most of them really center around, again, hold time and serve time. Not quite understanding the difference. Most people just say, how long can I keep my coffee in here?
Right, and depending on how you ask the question is depending on how it's answered. So it's really important to be able to determine the difference between them. If you get an answer where somebody says, hold time is this long, and in this case the LDs and LSs have a hold time of 2 hours. So if someone says a hold time of 2 hours, then that's how long you can actually hold a full dispenser filled with coffee. You can hold it for 2 hours before the temperature drop becomes appreciable. It's usually, for our standard, it's usually 5 degrees. Then if you conversely take in serve time on the L3 or the LS and LD dispensers is 1 hour. So you're restricted to that 1 hour time frame. And that means that from the time you start pulling coffee out of this faucet and you start serving coffee, you now have 1 hour. Otherwise, the temperature is going to degrade further than is acceptable.
Another question that we get is, how do you secure this and unlock it?
Well, that's a good question too, because there's a little bit of a trick to it. But on this particular dispenser, there's this red knob, and when you want to fold the handle down for brewing, you unscrew this to the left, counterclockwise, and you just tip it back a little bit, swing up the internal arm, and you fold it down just like that. And then you can brew. And in order to lock it back down, you just reverse the process, and you swing it down in place, line it up, and you turn it clockwise to lock it down.
Now it's secure to transport.
It's secure to transport.